Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, book signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special reunion 2020 episode. What is that? That's when I had a guest on in the past, and I liked them so much I had to invite them right on back. So today's special return guest is Audrey Boyle, and she is the founder over at Hallpass Education. Audrey, welcome back to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me again. Let's do this again, 2020.
So I'm excited to get into Hallpass Education. I mean, a brand new think tank that you started. I want to get right into that. But before we do, I don't want to assume that all of our new listeners caught your first episode. So let's get into a little bit more about what you're doing on the speaking side first.
I'm a college educator. I'm a speaker. So I go and I speak to people about the way we learn. So when it comes to social media, personal branding, online, offline relationships, I definitely have a knack for coming into an audience, building workshops, and talking about the importance of the way that we put ourselves out there. So playing offense with your lives. And corporations have me come in and do speaking engagements to drive revenue. So it's all about playing offense is the way I look at everything, especially when it comes to your career and your life.
So a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of executives listening, a lot of them hold conferences and other things at in their offices or otherwise, and they're always looking for speakers. So can you give them a feel for maybe some of the keynotes that are available?
Talking about comedy and how it affects our lives. I think that we collaborate, we grow, we do a lot of different things based off of hearing some type of positive comedy. So most of my keynotes, my keynote especially, is talking about how if you look at different things from a comedic lens, it's a coping mechanism, and it's a great way that you can segue into awkward conversations and complex negotiations. So how do you harness that, and how do you change the culture of your company to bring that in there? Also, I have a keynote on social selling. I feel like social selling is the sleeping giant of a company. So social selling could be self-advocacy or employee advocacy. So an employee could be posting out various things, and they are a micro-influencer. And if you take all the employees together, you get good content, and you have them push it out to their networks. It has impact. It drives revenue. Because I know maybe that person who's posting out, and I think, hey, that's a great company to work for. So talent acquisition. Or, hey, I'm going to go buy that product because they work for that company. So name recognition. So looking at playing offense with the assets you already have within your company.
Let's talk a little bit more about Hallpass Education. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Hallpass, yeah. Hallpass was formed just recently this year. It's a think tank. And I paired up with a couple other educators because there is a disconnect when it comes to education. The way we're taught is not how we learn. We're taught to know. And so what is that bridge between academia and real life? Because a good student in school doesn't necessarily make a high-functioning professional adult. So what we do is we tackle the things that people, the missing link when it comes to education, which is soft skills. Soft skills are actually essential now. You can learn any hard skill by going on YouTube and watching a video on how to do whatever, but how do you teach communication, collaboration, emotional intelligence? How do you teach customer service? How do you teach those soft skills to where we don't just know, but we actually change the behavior?
Well, that's awesome.
So
Congratulations. Love to hear that you launched the think tank, and love to hear that you're working with others. I love that that's this collaborative environment. I feel like so much more gets done, and I feel like when everybody can bring their expertise to the table, it just kind of enhances the offering altogether. So I love the idea.
Absolutely. So it's all about how you work in teams, when it comes to collaboration. And being self-aware and knowing how you perform in a team is very helpful to the team as a whole. And so we talk about, in our courses, this is where we hit and we want to make an impact. It's comes from the root. So if you have a communication breakdown in your company, for example, a manager is telling its employees, why do you always come to me with problems? Why don't you come to me with solutions? It's kind of like a toddler, a parent telling a toddler, hey, go clean your room. And the toddler runs back to the room and shoves everything in the corner and then comes back. And then you go, wait, I told you to clean your room. You just made an even bigger mess for me to clean up. And so where is that communication breakdown where you actually walk through the steps of the process of how you identify problems, how you solve the problem, find solutions, and then bring those solutions to you as the manager.
What kind of companies are you looking to work with for Hallpass?
For Hallpass, we actually have a beta test starting in May, and we're looking for healthcare, financial companies, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses. So we are going to put them through our series of courses. We have a prototype, and it's really tackling, like I said, the soft skills. So we want to attack it at the root and really talk about like how we actually communicate as humans. So we change behavior, which ends up changing the behavior long term within a company.
And what is the length of engagement for a company to go through the course? Like roughly, I know you're just starting with the beta, but what is it projected to be?
We're looking at a couple of months, so 2 to 3 months.
And then kind of like time commitment from the corporation, like how does all that stuff look? And the reason I ask these questions is because I feel like sometimes, like there's somebody listening to this right now, and they're like, oh man, that sounds great. We need to get Audrey in here. But then in the back of their head, they're also like, oh, what is this gonna do to my productivity? Do we have the time? Do we have the bandwidth? Like, what does that part of it look like?
It is not going to interrupt the bandwidth, I feel like, of a company. I think as a whole, it's going to increase revenues, increase production, increase innovation. So it's looking at we're looking at 2 to 3 month time commitment. It's not going to be something where it's every day for 8 hours for 2 to 3 months. It's something along the lines of self-paced learning with group in a group setting, and then online courses. So it's something that is not necessarily going to be where I'm standing in front of a room full of people talking to them. They're going to be able to do some self-paced things on the side that won't interrupt the day-to-day activities.
Man, this is exciting. Can you talk a little bit about some of the other participants in the incubator, like some of your other partners?
Yeah, my other partner is Dr. Peter James. He runs the entrepreneurship department at College of DuPage. So he's been an educator for, I think, about 8 or 9 years. My other partner is Peter Hochstrauser. So I have 2 Peters. Peter Hochstrauser is a high school educator. He runs a business department. So between the 3 of us, we have, I think 40 years of educational experience.
Oh man, that's exciting! I love to hear that you came together to put this together. Number one, I know the businesses that go through the course are going to benefit greatly. So Audrey, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information or they want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do it?
Audrey Boyle, audreyboyle.com. My handle is not Audrey Boyle. So the at Audrey Boyle is taken by a lot of older white women, I always say. So I should not Audrey Boyle.
Not Audrey Boyle. I love it. No, that's great. So Audrey, it's been awesome catching back up with you on this Reunion 2020 episode. Excited to have you back in 2021 to hear the updates and hear what's going on in your world. All great stuff. I can't wait to hear more great things about Hallpass Education. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, definitely give us a subscribe there and leave us some comments in the video. Let us know what you thought. Let us know what kind of projects you're working on. I'd love to hear from you. And Audrey, thanks again for coming back on the show.